On December of 2024, YouTuber Megalag posted a video exposing Honey for
Oh god, I
stealing from
remember
creators,
watching
a
that.
video that went on to gain tens of millions of views in its first week. From this video, the entire internet took to social media calling out Honey for their evil behavior. What you didn't know is that behind the scenes, something else was happening. One of the founders of Honey was doing the exact same thing all over again. While everybody was busy calling out Honey, he was busy using the same blueprint to scale his new project, and no one noticed a thing. With the same business model as Honey and a new scheme to top it all off, he was set for success. And with Honey now out of the way, the people were begging to be scammed. This is the story of how one man built Honey to $4 billion, left it while it crumbled, and came back with a new service, the same exact thing as the first, but with the new scam to top it all off. But to understand how we got here, let me
Wait, to
take you
block
back to
ads?
where it all began. Ryan Hudson was an
Ooh.
entrepreneur from MIT living in LA, where he'd been working as a project manager for the LA Times. Money was tight for him. He'd recently caught up a bunch of his utility providers to just cut $200 from his bills. He had kids to take care of, and the money wasn't coming in as he'd hoped. One day, while trying to order pizza for his kids, he was trying to save as much money as he could. And while rummaging through the different sites trying to find a coupon, he had a thought. He'd always thought of himself as a builder, and this was a problem that needed a solution to. While he had tried multiple startups in the past, they hadn't really gone anywhere. Why would this one be any different? Without an answer to this question, or much of a choice even, he used his self-taught programming skills to put together a tool to automate this task. Honey
Was
sounded
it
like a
a
name.
female
Well,
to male?
Honey on paper worked perfectly. The problem was getting it out there. This time he was not going to do it alone. He got together with a friend of his, George Ruan, and together they made it their mission to work on Honey and see where it was going to take them. After letting a bunch of people test it, next thing they knew, it was leaked on Reddit. Back then, Reddit was different. It was like the front page to the internet.
I'm sure your parents made so many goddamn excuses for that.
And this leak was their ticket out. It got some exposure, which allowed them to gain a couple thousand users. Honey's growth, although slow at first, was more growth than he'd seen in a long time, and this time he could almost see a way out. 2 years passed and it's 2014, and Honey is almost at 1 million users. This was it.
Damn.
The door was right there. He could almost feel the knob. All he needed to do was just to reach out and open it. The freedom, a stable income. Finally,
Building-
his break had arrived.
Building that much without like huge sponsorships is actually really impressive, I gotta say.
It was almost
Like
as if
scam or
it was
not.
too good to be true, and he wouldn't have to wonder for long because it was. Ryan learned a hard truth. Honey as a product was working flawlessly. The only problem was, it wasn't making any money. Honey was free, and by full definition of the word, it was a waste of money. He had bills to pay, and Honey being free was not going to help him out of that. He had to figure it out. If he didn't do anything, he was never going to make it out. They'd tried getting investors for their company, but the only success that they'd had was making them leave. Another year passed, and it's 2015. They reached out to someone in the industry to help them figure this out, and this is when they got introduced to affiliates. When someone or anyone used any of their codes at checkout, they would get a commission for that sale. The only problem was, the implementation of this was downright shady. There are multiple models of attribution, but the most popular one is last click attribution,
which basically means last click wins. For example, you might click on a shoe blogger's affiliate link for a pair of Nikes, but you don't buy right away. Later, you click on a YouTuber's link for the same shoes and complete the purchase. In this scenario, the YouTuber gets the commission and the blogger gets nothing. There are other models like first click, where the blogger would win the commission, or dynamic click, where the commission is shared. But the industry went with last click because while it's not always the fairest, it's the easiest to implement.
This model was the easiest one to implement and the industry standard. The problem came in when
I mean, I can see why they do that. It's pretty easy to implement that. Plus, then you wouldn't have to find out all these like people's commissions. It would be like a huge ass fuck shit show.
a sale was already attributed to someone else and they'd already gone into the checkout. If Honey chose this path, this meant that they'd have to poach other people's sales in a last click attribution. But remember, Ryan needs to make this work. If he chooses to ignore this, then he might never get his big break. So what was it going to be? The money? Or the morals? Okay, look, we can come out here and say whatever we want and come out here and attack him, but think about it. What would you have done? If placed in a similar position, what would you do? I mean, no
Oh, I 100% believe that everyone would do what they did. There's no doubt
defending
about
what
it.
he did or what the company did as a whole, but someone had to choose. And as if the world was waiting for this, the minute that he broke, another door seemingly opened and they finally started lucking out. Investors now saw potential in what they were doing, and potential meant money. By 2018, they were able to raise $40 million in venture backing. This was huge. This was insane because a few years before, they were barely being able to raise $100,000 and could barely keep the company afloat. But now they were doing 10 times that amount. They were further able to expand their income through a new program called Honey Gold. If a user got to the checkout and Honey couldn't find any coupons, they could still claim that sale and get a commission, and in return, they would share a piece of that commission with the user. Keep this in mind. This is going to come back.
Oh, that's
very
shady.
huge later.
That's
So
fucking
please do not
shady.
forget this piece. Do not forget
Yeah,
this
I don't
piece.
know a
Since
single
that got
person
so
who
good
would
that
choose
it's
the
been
money,
reported
though.
that they were
Not gonna lie.
making upwards of $100 million a year. Ryan had finally made it. All those years had finally paid off. And just when they thought that things could get any better, they got the biggest deal of their entire lives. PayPal bought Honey for $4 billion. For context, $4 billion is equivalent to the entire GDP of Burundi, which is one of the poorest countries in the world, but still. So you can imagine how Ryan felt. 7 years ago, he was struggling to buy pizza for his kids, and now his company was valued to the equivalent of an entire country's GDP. But at what cost? Did the results of what he got justify how we got here? Think about all the people who suffered to get here. What about them? But on the other hand, think about him for a second. You've seen what he's gone through. You know, no one handed this to him. No one gave this to him. He worked for this. And now that he'd finally gotten what he wanted,
Dude, off topic, I really like the Emperor's New Groove, and especially Kronk from that. This guy's really funny. I really like him.
now what? The deal with PayPal brought a lot of eyeballs to the company. The major question being, why $4 billion? Without a clear answer from many of the companies, a weird fog was beginning to form around Honey. I don't have the budgets to make this fog. I don't have that budget, so please visualize that. I want you to close your eyes and imagine a weird fog gathering around a
Bro's gonna fucking buy a fog machine and fog up his moon. Or fog up his room.
very tall corporate
That would've been
building
really
representing
funny.
Honey. And that is going to be our visual cue. I'm going to reference that. We don't have the budget to do that, so subscribe.
Yeah, we don't have the
Subscribe. But
budget to
something
do
was
that
off.
shit.
Not even a year later, in December
Yeah,
of
just
2019,
Lonston.
Amazon came out at Honey. They recently put up an
Yeah, if you want to get successful, you gotta get your hands dirty. In most cases, that's true. There are ways to get successful without getting your hands dirty. It just takes way longer. Like, what are some examples that I could give for like maybe some like YouTubers who did that? I could say like maybe clip farming, maybe. I guess clip farming could be one of them, especially back in like 2020-ish. What else? I don't know, stream botting, that kind of shit. Oh yeah, buying bots to expand his subs. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like buying bots, buying fake engagement, that kind of shit. Very very, what was that person's name? Yeah, clickbait. But it's also like very in line with that one person. I remember doing a reaction of their things. They bought like 1 million followers on Instagram and still like buy likes for like $100 per like post to like pretend they're famous. Like, I don't know.
notice on their website calling Honey malware, telling their users to uninstall it. And as if playing a character, they refused to explain what they meant by this claim or what they were even talking about. Honey chose to play victim. Amazon never liked PayPal. Previously, eBay owned PayPal, and eBay is a huge competitor of Amazon. And even after eBay and PayPal got divorced, Amazon wouldn't budge, so it made perfect sense for them to oppose Honey for this connection. After a few weeks, the situation died down, but it marked the beginning of many to come. In 2020, COVID shut everybody indoors, and without any means of going to physical stores, e-commerce became the new norm. Honey was still growing, and this became an even bigger catalyst. More eyeballs meant more suspicion. A few months into 2020, PayPal was prepping for damage control, and they didn't even know it. RetailMeNot was another big coupon company, and all this talk about Honey was not rubbing them the right way. So a few months into July, they found something they could use against them. In an ad, Honey had claimed that they would find every single working code on the internet and apply the best one to your cart. Although this claim was petty or far-fetched or minute at best, they reported it to the Better Business Bureau, who opened up an investigation into Honey. They released a statement shortly after claiming that
Oh
they'd
shit,
take down
the Better Business Bureau is in this? Oh shit. Honey's fucked.
the ad for personal business reasons. Never in any way did they ever admit to doing anything wrong. They just applauded the BBB for putting in the work and dismissed it to business reasons. The BBB didn't The BBB didn't fight back. They took down the ad and dismissed that case completely. Everything seemed to go back to normal. After the deal happened, Ryan was stuck. What was he supposed to do now? He'd already built this company that had performed massively and way beyond his expectations, and he was set for life. For a while, he didn't know what to do and spent most of his time doing nothing. And 2 years later in 2022, he was tired. He'd felt like he'd finally given Honey all that he could. And Honey was already doing better than it was when he started it. And it changed his life in ways that he couldn't even explain. He needed a change. This is when he made the ultimate decision of leaving Honey. The weird thing is, he didn't do it alone. After he left, one by one, more of his previous employees started to leave Honey as well. And it's not like Honey wasn't doing well anymore. Sure, they'd had their peak, but it's not like they were broke either. So why were they leaving? On March of 2024, Ryan returned to the spotlight. Sticking to his guns, he'd chosen to do it all over again. I know what you're thinking. You can clearly see it on his face. You know what he's doing. You know what he's up to. You've seen this before.
He wants
You know it by
money.
now. Ryan hit a gold mine. His last project worked perfectly, and he wasn't even trying back then. Imagine if he did. The concept was already proven to work. He'd be an idiot to let it go again. He couldn't just re-release the same product again. That would be ridiculous.
He's gonna
Really
release it.
smart. Sure, it would, but we need something to set it apart. Something different. Something real.
Hi Zoe.
Something like an ad blocker. The ad blocker wasn't a coincidence. It did solve a real problem. Ads? Yes, but no. While at Honey, ad blockers were a huge
Ads?
pain for them.
Yeah.
They sometimes interfered with their attribution systems, making them lose out on a lot of money. They couldn't do anything at the time, but now, he could do whatever he wanted. Money wasn't an issue anymore. Making even more was. With another shopping extension in the bag and an ad blocker of their own, kind of, all that remains now.
Wait, what the
big.
fuck? Kind of?
Kind
Honey co-founders of AdBlock called out for copying GPL uBlock origin files. Wow, so it's just uBlock origin on crack or something? That's crazy. That's crazy. They just stole uBlock origin files. Oh, that's fucking funny.
of, all that remains now was bait. It already invented the reel. All that remained was to get on it and write it. Please be mature. Please be mature. You're better than this. Sorry.
Or am I?
From the heavy YouTube advertising from both creators and Google Ads, they quickly skyrocketed to 1 million users. I find it kind of funny
I'm
that
bored.
YouTube still
Yeah, I'm just reacting to content, and then me and Umboy are gonna be playing video games again tomorrow. And hopefully we're gonna actually fucking kill Bigfoot this time. I really want to try and get Bigfoot again. But that's for tomorrow. Right now I'm reacting to the Honey scam and why it isn't over. Hell yeah, dinosaur emojis. Fuck yeah.
shows ads about ad blockers for YouTube on their own platform. Although most of these ad blockers don't work, it's an infinite money glitch. Damn, that's good. That's good. I hadn't thought of that yet, but that's good. That's good. Okay. Ryan had done it again. He had full control over both the shopping world and the advertising world. The money was finally in sight, and he couldn't stop now. Pi continued to rise, making a name for themselves even outside of Honey. All signs showed that he'd finally gotten away with it. And it's not like he was doing anything illegal. It was part of the business model.
I mean,
Who could
technically
blame
not
him? 3 days
illegal.
before Christmas, Megalai posted a video that would change everything. He didn't just point fingers at Honey. He had proof. Unlike other instances, this one wasn't dying down. 1 million, 2 million, 10 million. The reach
Jesus.
was unstoppable.
Uh-oh.
Next thing you know, headline after headline from every major press you know of. The result? Multiple lawsuits followed against Honey. It was their move now. Everyone was looking at them. How were they going to respond? All this talk stumbled into somebody else's ballpark.
They're
Ryan Hudson. He wasn't
fucked.
working at Honey anymore. He was watching from the sidelines, and there it was. His former child being picked on and bullied by everybody else. He had to do something. But what? He wasn't a lawyer, and neither was it his place to do anything. It was PayPal's problem now, but he couldn't just stand there and do nothing. As days turned into months, no one responded. Not Honey, not PayPal. Chrome updated their policy to forbid any activity like that of Honey on their platform. Still, no response. He couldn't help it anymore. He had to do something. He took matters into his own hands and took to Reddit. It was one thing to try and defend Honey, but with new stakes on the table, he couldn't bear to overstep. I wish he took his own advice. His sloppy was sloppy at best.
His sloppy was
Allow me to take you
sloppy.
through his 2 main
Oh yeah, his fucking sloppy was floppy.
points. Honey giving worse codes. I have to begin by giving some credit here. The basis for the argument here probably makes sense, but the way that they illustrated it just sucked the credibility out of the bots for me. But before I show you what it is, here's the parts he talks about.
Another oddity was that Honey would often only find me Honey branded coupon codes, such as Honey 5 or Honey 10. Why would a store only have Honey branded coupon codes? Kind of weird, right?
He explains how such codes, commonly called vanity codes, exist. He says that the reasons he'll find such codes is to help creators get accurate credit for the sales they send to a store, which, when you think about it, for an affiliate related situation, makes sense. For example, if I have a sponsor, they want to track the performance of the endorsement. For Honey, he claimed that the reason these codes exist is they didn't want to mess up retailer attribution systems, but still want to give users coupons of the same value. Makes sense, right? It does. The next point, however, is
This shit's way too
nitpicky
small
at
for
best.
me.
But the biggest red flag was that when I tried submitting the better coupon codes I'd found, Honey wasn't adding them to their database. So why not?
In his video at 17:02, Jonathan claims that he tries to share a better coupon code he found with Honey. He enters it prominently on the screen and says it's the 30% off code, except it's very clearly not a 30% off. You can see the evidence right there on his own screen. The code NETSPURCHASE012 only gave him a 15% off. Watch it for yourself and do the math. Why lie about it? Okay, this part is purely just funny. I cannot not make fun of this. I feel like I should bring out my tinfoil hat for this one, because out of all
Oh
the
boy,
allegations
conspiracy
that
mode.
were put forth against Honey, the one that bothered him the most, the blatant mathematical deception, was the 15% error, which, to be honest, could have been anything. He might have mistyped it, or could have actually been a blatant mathematical deception. It's not funny. I'm sorry. Let's move on. He talks about how Megalag isn't actually credible and doesn't know what he's talking about. And finally, after reading lines and lines of slander, he finally addresses the elephant in the room. Honey is stealing from creators. The most notable allegation was
God,
that
that
Honey
was
was doing
such a
some
big
pretty
one.
weird cookie stuffing in the background, something that they weren't really talking about. To Ryan, he defends Honey and says that he feels like Honey is entitled to a commission after a user engages with them, regardless or not Honey found them a coupon. He goes to use an example of how Honey isn't stealing from creators and uses the Linus Tech Tips example. He meticulously says that actually Honey didn't steal all of their commission. They stole some. I mean, they got some of the commission.
Oh, we only stole some of your commission. What's the big deal? Why am I getting booed, guys? Fuck.
Remember,
Good
guys,
lord.
no stealing happening here. He says that different sites have different methods of attribution, and in the example, the referral was not entirely pushed from Linus. It was just added to. Linus remained as the first click, while Honey was added as the last click. Remember, guys, no was stealing. That might be true, but what about the times where this isn't the case? I don't have to go very far because in the same video, Megalag illustrates where he uses an example using NordVPN. He has two cases, one where he used Honey and another where he didn't. You can probably guess what happens, but I'll tell you anyway because it's my video and I can do whatever I want, much like Ryan. Bad example. Cut that out. As you might expect, when he didn't use Honey, he got all of the commission he had earned. But when Honey was involved, he got nothing. Honey swooped in at the last minute at the checkout and took all the commission from themselves. So what about this situation?
Crazy.
Who do we blame this time? Well, we wouldn't know because conveniently, Ryan didn't see this part of the video because I read the entire mega thread and believe me, it's long and not once did I see this answered. I'm also not going to talk about every other thing that he talks about in the mega thread. As I mentioned, it's long. It goes on forever. I tried. I read through all of it. But long story short, not too many answers are there. Something that Ryan was using to his defense a lot was that, hey guys, I don't work at Honey anymore. Trust me.
Sounds like it sounds like a Twitter person trying to defend their crypto scam. Like, it's just giving off those vibes, in my opinion.
I don't know what's going on in there. I don't know what's going on. I'm just like you guys. As soon as PayPal came in, I walked out the door. So I knew that I had to find something. Some case where Ryan couldn't have time on his side. So I kept reading. I got into work. I read paper after paper, article after article. And yet again, when all my hope was seemingly lost and I was reading yet another article that had seemingly nothing to offer, I remembered something.
Yes, Zoe?
Megalag wasn't the first one. People only knew about him because his video blew up. But conveniently, someone else had already done something similar. Back in 2020, there was a video addressing the same things that
You didn't add
Megalag
me on
did.
Discord.
And this time,
Yeah, I don't really add people on Discord, not gonna lie. Like, you'd be surprised how many of how many of Umboy's friends have added me, and I don't add them back. Like, I don't know, I just don't like adding people in Discord, not gonna lie. It's just a me thing, personally.
Ryan couldn't hide behind time. I'd finally found something he couldn't refute. Evidence. It was already April, and the video had over 15 million views and Honey had lost about
17 million, goddamn.
3 million
You're
users. The
fucked.
post made by Ryan did not get close to that much
Charlie
traction.
fanboy.
Maybe that's why you'd never
Yeah, I'm a college guy, I got college shit.
heard of them. A lot of people never heard of them. I didn't. As expected, people followed the trail and found out about it too. And on finding out that it was built by the same people who had built Honey, they couldn't hide anymore. A month later in May, the Chrome policy took effect and Honey was deleted from the web store. Other browsers like Firefox and Edge still have it on offer, but Honey's time was up. What about Pi? Are they doing the same shady things that Honey was? Let's find out. Here's what I know for sure. The ad blocker
10 bucks
is a
a banner.
standalone product. It works just fine. I mean, ad blockers are
You know, you can call without waking up Umboy, you know? Like, you can shift call. And then watch this shit. Boom. Watch this, it didn't ring you. Crazy. You're like, look at the server. See, I'm in the call. Didn't ring.
everywhere nowadays. The part where everything starts to get messy and a little bit shady is when we start to involve money.
Check your Discord.
I'll use an example. They have a cashback scheme similar to that of Honey, both for their shopping extension and for the ad blocker. Let me start with that last one. The main claim is that if you see ads from sites that have partnered up with Pi, you'll get a
Hi, Zoe.
How the fuck did you do that?
Magic.
I feel like an idiot. What the fuck do you mean you can what?
Yeah, you can start a Discord call without ringing anyone else.
I didn't know you can do that in your phone also because my Discord is in my phone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do that on your phone.
Do you know how? Because I don't know.
I don't use Discord on my phone. You'd have to look it up.
Oh. Okay.
Oh yeah.
cut of the ad revenue made by the same site. On paper, that doesn't sound too bad. I mean, I would want to make a few bucks. But when you start to extrapolate it in practice, this is where things start to
I
get
have
shady.
now a
What
week
Pi is
that I
doing
will
here
not
is
see
inserting
fucking
themselves as the middleman. Let me explain.
him.
To
I
be a
won't
partner
see
of Pi,
him.
I'm not sure if it's the same elsewhere in the world.
what is this? What's going on here? I wouldn't call it entirely a scam because like part of their product does work, kinda genuinely.
Yeah, their
but
commission
Honey
is
was
just
scummy.
shit.
Honey was scummy, and I'd put Pi in the same bucket too. And because like in this video we focus on Ryan a lot, I feel like as the journey progressed, the line between ethical and unethical got blurry. The money got to his
From somewhere USA.
head, and he might have lost himself along the way. But I don't think like
I mean,
stepping on other
I'm live
people
at
on
like
your way to the
one. It's like fucking between like 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. right now. It's fucking like late right now.
should
Good
be
lord.
how we tell your story. I don't think that's how you should get your victory.
Oh, you need to find Zoe a boyfriend. Here's an idea for Zoe to get a boyfriend. Here's the game plan. She asks the guy at her school out.
I know
Crazy.
it might be hard now,
Asking a guy
but
out in
think about other
2025.
people too.
Crazy.
Like for example, Ryan. We've seen
the
You look
fuck?
like-
The fuck you mean now?
point for him. He
I don't know.
wasn't handed any
It's
of
not- it's
this.
not me.
None of this was given to
Not
him.
me.
But after he made it, he had something that he didn't have before. A choice. And I think that's all that I have to say.
Interesting.
So yeah, subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Huh. The mu-
You know
this,
how people do like
you like USA? I'd say it's a fine country.
why
It's got a
did
lot of
you
problems.